Welcome to About Time, a Doctor Who podcast. I'm Stephen, and usually I'm joined by my boyfriend Ben. Today, however... Hello, and welcome back to About Time, where today I'm joined by host of Who Gives a Flux and candle maker extraordinaire. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Stephen. Thanks for having me back.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? It's been a long time, so it's nice to speak to you.
It has, yes. You were last on for the story in the engine, weren't you?
Oh my.
Which, yeah.
That feels like a lifetime ago.
Does feel a very long time ago now.
Wow, yes. It does, doesn't it? Good grief. And I haven't podcast since myself either, really, since doing the commentaries on that series. And here we are.
We are, yeah. I'm very excited.
Are we? Are we very excited? I'm excited to talk to you.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the... Well, I hesitate to call it a spin-off. I know that's what everyone's calling it, but I'm like, to me, a spin-off implies some sort of longevity that, like, it could run for seasons and seasons. Whereas to me, this is a very standalone...
It's like a special, isn't it? Like a special event.
Yeah, I don't know what... I suppose spin-off is the only thing you can call it, really, because it's not Doctor Who.
It's not Doctor Who.
It's a spin-off drama. Spin-off, one-off drama. A one-off spin-off.
We are spinning. Do you know what? I have a sort of a myriad of thoughts about it, but I think the top line is, I think that the Whoniverse should have been doing this sort of thing for years.
100%.
And I think that we have such a depth, pun intended, depth of characters and potential and stories and worlds out there that with the right money and the right backing, we should have been having this for a long time.
100%.
And so in a way, I'm kind of grateful that it's finally happened. I'm grateful it's looking as stunning as it is. And I'm grateful to see a bit more of Kate and Unit in a situation, I suppose, not dissimilar to Torchwood Children of Earth. And in format as well, actually, 5 episodes, big one-off kind of drama spin-off from the show that we all love. So, yeah, generally feeling good about it, I think, is where I am at. I will put out there now, this is a caveat. I've not been online and seen anybody's reaction to this show.
Good for you.
I purely watched it myself, by myself. I know it's a strange one because I'm a bit less active at the moment in podcasting myself. I haven't felt the need to kind of keep up with what's happening online. Yeah,
I bet it's so much better that way.
It is, to be honest with you. So yeah, this is quite fresh. I don't have any idea what anybody else thinks about it. And in fact, nobody in my life, in work or anything, has watched it.
Oh, really?
So so I'm keen to know as well what you think.
Well, I'm similar to you. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. I have dipped in online and had a look at what people are saying. But as often happens, I come away from watching it on TV and I think, this is really good. I'm really loving it. And then I go on Twitter and everyone's tearing it to shreds. So I get to a point where I just think, well, I liked it. And that, that's what matters, for the moment.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I feel like as a little sort of like a brief background, episode 1, I thought, okay, that did what it had to do. It was setting everything up on the characters. And I felt like I knew as much as I needed to know. And then episode 2, the negotiations continued. And I thought, I hope this isn't just going to be 5 episodes of negotiations in this room, as fab as it is with that big tank that they've made. I was hoping for more. And then when it said, next time we want you to come to our place of living, under the sea. Under the sea. Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
I thought, fab. Okay, so it's going to change up now. We're going to go under the sea. This is what this is. This is good.
Yeah, this is exactly what it needed. Yeah.
And then I watched the episode, and actually I thought, oh my God, I'm so glad that Stephen asked me to come on to talk about this one.
Yeah.
Because it was a good one.
It is. I think it's really good.
It's a good episode. Yeah.
It's funny because, like, with 5 episodes to tell one story and to let it breathe, sometimes it feels a little bit like not a lot happens in one episode, but in other ways, so much happens. Like,
I think, though, serialized TV at the moment is like that. All of it's like that. Stranger Things is generally you have to watch about 6 episodes before you even feel the pull to carry on watching, because it takes 5 or 6 episodes to sort of lay all the groundwork and you're just living with them, and then suddenly the story happens, you're like, oh my God, then you become, for me anyway, get sucked in. And so I was expecting a similar sort of journey. And it has been a bit like that. It's taken a little bit of time to kind of move, and all of a sudden there's only one episode left.
Exactly.
It's all a bit like, oh, okay, I perhaps 5 isn't quite enough, but also, like you said, there are episodes where you feel like you're just kind of standing around in a room. We don't want episodes just like that, so it's hard to get that balance, I think.
Yeah, we should caveat as well that at time of recording we've seen episodes 1 to 4, but not 5 yet. But yes, this one is called The Deep, and it's sort of all about the delegates.
Russell Tovey.
Well, isn't it all about Russell Tovey?
Well, there's 2 characters. There's Russell Tovey and his arms.
That's 3 characters then.
That is 3 characters.
One arm and the other arm, yeah.
Let's dive into Russell Tovey.
I'd love to. This has been a recurring theme on the previous 2 episodes as well.
I thought it might have been. I mean, we are all just human.
It's Russell Tovey's world and we're living in it.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Soz. I digress. What were you saying? This episode is about what?
It's about the delegates, isn't it? Going down into this very deep part of the ocean that barely any human has gone to before. And for me, what I loved about this episode was the tension, particularly in that pod, and the way that they allowed that time to sort of, the long silences and awkward silences and just feel that sort of how it would feel to be actually going down there.
Absolutely.
They did that so well.
It could have just felt like getting into a lift, couldn't it, and just going down. And they could have cut to it us being at the bottom. But actually, you're right. There was an opportunity for extra tension and perhaps to get to know a couple of the characters who we haven't met before and allow them the chance to speak. You're right, it was very tense. And there's something about stories that are under the sea or in space that I find personally even more tense, because obviously, one leak and your life is at threat just by being in that space, in that place. Your life is at threat, and I find that quite tense in itself. And then to add then the bubbling tension underneath of the people in the pod, frightened, aware of what they're going to, and aware of what's happening on the surface. There's a lot of tension in this episode, which I think was executed really well.
I agree. One of the notes I wrote down watching this is just that the ocean is such a scary place. And don't they say that we know less about some parts of the ocean than we do about space? Because it's so unknown and so hard to get down there and explore it.
And yet, it's on my doorstep. Yeah, I'm very lucky. The sea is right there, and we don't always look at it or think about it in a context of this kind of, I suppose, danger. And I don't know always. Sometimes it's just a pretty thing because it's the sunset.
Yeah, and I think you forget how deep it goes because you look out and it's just this flat sort of surface that you see.
Absolutely.
And you think, it goes down a bit like a swimming pool. But you don't think, it goes miles and miles down.
Absolutely. No concept of these trenches that are in the middle of the ocean that these people are going to.
It is terrifying.
And of course, there's a really interesting array of characters in that pod as well. You've got the, I don't know, forgive me, but is he a general?
I think he's General Pierce. Yeah,
we've got General Pierce, and I think his character is actually so he plays it really well. He plays that kind of sort of sardonic, sarcastic. It works. It's a real trope, but it works. I think in this context, it's needed.
Yeah, but also I feel he's got more depth since he was in Torture Children of Earth. He was just there to be aggressive and what have you there, but now he's more rounded, and we're seeing more of him.
Absolutely. And then the 2 unit people who we saw in the other previous episodes who were in the room. I mean, sadly, I don't know their names.
I can't remember their names.
I would say it was a little bit okay, there are characters we have seen that were introduced in this, and there were new characters. And I do wonder slightly why they didn't. Well, maybe I've answered my own question. I was thinking that why they didn't use other unit characters that we've known from before. And
I suppose because they had to be dispensable, didn't they?
I was thinking about it. I kind of answered my own question. You're right. There had to be casualties, and I suppose that's the problem with using characters and actors that you want to use again, I guess. And we had the guy who won the lottery. I say won the lottery from the countries.
Yeah. So there were 2 there, weren't there? There was Ravi, the delegate from India.
Yes.
And then Ted from South Africa.
Yes. I mean, it makes complete sense. that we have characters from other nations going down there.
Yeah.
It's interesting as to why, again, it hasn't really been addressed, but why Britain,
Yes.
where we're following the British part of the story.
I made this point on a previous episode, and it's hard to answer, really, isn't it? I think it largely boils down to the fact that it's a British show that's being made,
Yes,
and so
absolutely.
we want the London stuff. But
I will say I'm really pleased about having all the London stuff, because it worked really well in Torchwood Children of Earth as well.
Yeah.
It just feels so grand and so epic. It does feel big. It matches the story and realistic. Absolutely.
Because you would have these people running around in these buildings and.
Absolutely, it just makes a lot of sense, and it's one aspect of the story that I think is also hugely successful, and it was in that Torchwood spin-off, and it is in this, the idea that the government are involved and in what capacity, etc. I think that all just makes so much sense, and having UNIT have this big base in London, it makes sense the story would be set there, and although I will say, like, it's interesting because this is a show for all intents and purposes about UNIT, but UNIT's involvement is quite different to how I think I expected it to be.
And it's better, in my opinion.
Same. I think I expected UNIT to maybe come in and take charge and come in all guns blazing, I guess. And I think I used that pun intentionally. But they aren't. They are acting as more of a sort of moral compass for what the governments of the world are trying to jump in and be quite all guns blazing then and go in and have all these contingencies for when we get betrayed or when they're going to decide to pull the trigger against the Aqua kind. Whereas UNIT are a bit like, no, we're here to negotiate, we're here for peace, we're here to see this through. Kate is performing, for all intents and purposes, the Doctor's role.
Yes. Which
I don't think I expected either. I don't know why. I expected the UNIT side to be a bit more military, because I think units are sort of military, and in Doctor Who, units are used as the military arm of the Doctor. So this is quite interesting little twist they've had.
I think as well, when you think of what we had in Lucky Day, which was also written by Pete McTighe.
Yes.
And Kate went down to quite a dark path.
She did.
So interesting that she's, so from what we've seen so far, been more sort of level-headed and more peaceful. Maybe that was a bad day that we saw. Maybe she's learnt from that. Maybe,
Not so lucky.
Yeah.
But no, you're right, because this is what I think the Doctor would want UNIT to be. The peacemakers, I guess.
Absolutely.
This is where interactions with the Doctor changing you for the better comes in.
It feels like they've reformed a bit from what they were before.
Yes.
And it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
I quite like the balance as well. I like that that we're seeing a lot of Barclay in this episode in that pod with those people, and we see a decent amount of the kind of Prime Minister with the other nations advising him, or shall we say advising in inverted commas. We have then UNIT and Kate over here, and we have, I don't know, that it's a very balanced episode. Everyone gets their time, and I think that's what I enjoy about the 5-part story. I mean, arguably, is this what Doctor Who should be doing?
I think so. Yeah.
Twice a year, doing 2 4-part stories or something. Is this where it should be going next?
Yeah, or maybe not all the time.
Maybe not all the time. Split it up.
Every so often would be good to do
absolutely.
it. Yeah,
I mean, let's face it, we had 8 episodes a season. The Doctor was only in 3. One was companion heavy, but the previous companion. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's room here to mix up the storytelling.
I do agree,
this is what this is doing really successfully. I did want to ask you as well. I mean, this is sort of a meta question, but how the ratings for this are doing really well comparatively to Doctor Who, if that's something that you're interested in. Whether Sunday night is a better time for this kind of show, whether having 2 episodes a week is the way to go forward. People get to kind of like semi-binge, but the BBC still get their kind of the leapfrogging through the month of it's still a topic of conversation for the month. It's not all money spent and gone in a week as, so I don't know. Is this format more, is it better for now? That's my question.
I personally would say it's probably a combination of the time that it airs as well, being like, more prime time and, post Watershed as it goes past 9.
Yeah.
Which obviously you couldn't do with Doctor Who. But that and dropping 2 episodes a week, it's quite sort of... And those cliffhangers, they make you want to watch on. Like, you know, I can't imagine anyone watching the first episode and then not wanting to go straight on to the second one.
Absolutely.
And I think people like serialized stuff more these days. I think episodic stuff is a little bit old-fashioned now, maybe.
Arguably harder to do as well, I think.
Yeah.
You know, to try and set up characters in a story to have some sort of conclusion in 40 minutes that feels satisfying. That's a tall order. And I think that Pete McTighe has done a fantastic job so far in the episodes he's written. I mean, he's very, very easy on the eyes as well. and I think I want to see him do more.
Yeah.
Writing for TV.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Oh my word, because yes, I know what your fans are like.
Well, yeah, we're on brand.
We're on brand.
Yes. I would like to talk a little bit more about Ted because I found him so fascinating.
Okay.
Because he goes through so many different things. Like at the start, he seems so sort of casual, but also like positive and chipper and trying to make everyone feel better. And then he starts to panic himself. And I was like, you know, given what we find out about him at the end of the episode, I wasn't sure, was that him genuinely panicking or is that him pretending? But like, I think he was being genuine.
Yeah, good question. I think you're right. I think he was being genuine. Was he being genuine because he knew what he was about to do? Was he being genuine because he was having second thoughts? Was he getting to know the people in the pod and understood that the ramifications of what he was about to do was going to hurt them?
It must be that.
Well, he didn't care before, but now he does.
Yeah.
Because Russell Barkley was helping him. And so, Russell, first name terms, obviously. No, was it all that? Was it a combination? It's interesting.
Yeah, because we found out, didn't we, that he was terminally ill. And so he was going on a suicide mission, sort of aware that there was no alternative for him anyway.
Yes.
So with him, I don't know if would he panic about the safety of the thing for himself, or I suppose when you're confronted with it, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
it's very complicated.
It's very complicated. The enormity of it all when actually down there and sinking to the bottom of the ocean. I don't know. And then there's faces around you that haven't got his predicament. So I think it is complicated. So I do think it was a genuine reaction in the pod. Yeah. I agree with you. I think he is an interesting character. I've got to say, I feel like I semi-sniffed it out.
Oh, did you?
At the not completely, but there was something in the way he was reacting on the surface to then how he was saying they were all a team, and then acting on the pod that in the pod that was quite different to that I think made me think, has he got an ulterior motive here? Because let's face it, there's a lot of ulterior motives going on in this show.
Well, yeah.
And so it would be too plain sailing to get down there to realize everybody had the same goal, and it was actually a peaceful mission. So out of all the people in the pod, I think he perhaps stood out to me as probably the most likely to have that ulterior motive.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think early on in that scene in the office or whatever it was, there's that moment when he says, "Oh, you know, we're never alone. We're never alone. We're always a team," or whatever. And Barkley gives him a bit of a look, and there's this little moment, and you sort of think, "Oh, what's going on with this guy?" But then you sort of forget about it because
you do,
you know, everything's going on with the pod.
And is it potentially Ted looking for validation, you know, trying to win them over to sort of, you know, in his mind be like, yes, we are, you know, if they agree we're a team, they'll agree with what I'm going to do. So if it's so layered, and I think it was actually played very well. I you know, and as it was happening at the end, and as the globe was opening up, and it was all slow motion, I just thought, oh shit, like we're now in trouble. We're in trouble. Barkley's in trouble. His arms, you know. No, but it's like we're in trouble, and it was quite. It was a lot. It was done very well, I think. Yeah.
I guess I felt when that moment happened, that twist happened, I kind of felt betrayed because I thought he'd seemed like such a nice character in a way.
Okay.
You know, the way he was, I love when they start to go down and he says, you know, I've got some team bonding word games if anyone's interested. And
No, thank you. Now
no
is
one
not
was
the
interested.
time. Absolutely not.
I was curious to know what they were going to be, what those games were going to be. Like, you know.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. Interesting. But yes, you're right though. I think he was played as likable.
Yeah.
And I think that was on purpose. And so feeling betrayed is what they wanted you to feel.
Exactly. Well, they definitely achieved that.
Yeah.
And also the way that the concept of the globe, when he got it out of the box and was like, you know, they've never seen the world like this. I found that really interesting, like, because they haven't, you know, if they did a map of the world, like, it would look completely different to our version.
Fascinating. Because
Yeah.
it would, I wonder how they would map the world.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because they can get to places that we can't. So it would just look so different.
Yeah.
We should talk about the Aquakind as well, because we haven't really spoken about them much. How are you enjoying how they look and this new hierarchy of Homo Aqua?
I love the designs, both the regular Homo Aqua and then Homo Amphibia or whatever salt is.
Yeah.
I think I find the you know the different species and stuff a bit confusing. Like, not confusing, but I just think it makes it slightly more complicated than it needs to be.
It is complicated.
And then you've got these weird big ugly fish thing that float there. And I'm like, what are they for? What are they about?
But obviously, clearly sentient, and they are though, aren't they? They're not.
No, I'm just feeling bad because I just called them ugly, and I'm like, sorry.
No, I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
They might be
isn't it?
listening,
Absolutely.
and they might be offended. So sorry.
Absolutely, we're assuming they speak English.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It does make us ask more questions, and obviously, for fans of Doctor Who and fans of Classic Who, then there are more questions again about the original Sea Devils, the ones from Warriors of the Deep, the Silurians we've met. There's a lot of questions around the species and or the multiple species and how it all fits together. And obviously, you'd think that this would be the place in a way to answer those questions because there's more time to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're making this for a non-Doctor Who audience.
Yeah, who don't care about this.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't care. They care about the drama for the people if something like this were to happen, and that's what this show is about. So that it has to be it's balanced that way, I think, instead. But it does ask lots of questions. You're right. And does it make it too complicated? I don't know. I enjoy the fact that this is a story they're telling, and obviously this is not a retelling of what we've seen before, but there is certainly a continuation of a story that Doctor Who fans feel probably know quite well from the past. What I wonder is how it's going to get treated after this, because Children of Earth was different. It was an alien invasion from a species we didn't know anything about. For all intents and purposes, we beat them. They've gone. So obviously we haven't seen episode 5 yet, but the Sea Devils are a part of Classic Who and have been around for a long time, since the 70s. So I wonder how this new chapter in that lore, what it will hold for Doctor Who moving forward, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
I'm intrigued by that as well.
Because I was thinking about this and because obviously, as we say, we haven't seen the end yet, but my feeling is that they're not going to want to change the world too much. Like, say, for example, with the Zygons, where they ended up sort of sharing the planet and, they could look human, so it didn't really affect things that much. Whereas I don't see that we're going to come to some great agreement that's then going to change the world for the future of the universe.
Yeah, but then that you bring up a really good point there, because I was actually going to mention the Zygons. I'm hesitant to ask some of these questions, or even to give these thoughts words, because we are talking about a show that has been on for so long, that has so much history, that you and I are both deeply invested in, and the people who are listening to this podcast, hi, hello, you are also invested in this show, and we are painfully aware of the past and things like the Zygons that are a part of, a massive part of the 50th, and then the Capaldi stories, and it was part of what was going to be Doctor Who moving forward, and of course they never been mentioned again. And yes, they look like humans, so they can blend in, but they're there now. Like the Zygons in this world, in this universe, whilst this is happening, the Zygons are also there sharing the planet, and so it's just like, It's so complicated. And are we supposed to just brush it away?
Yeah.
And not concern ourselves with any of that stuff?
Because that's the problem, isn't it? Like, Doctor Who is a show that wants to constantly bring new people on board. So you don't want to bog down those new people with complicated lore and history. So you want to be kind of doing it set in a world that is as similar to our world as possible. Whilst
honouring what's happened before.
Of course, yeah.
Or not being disrespectful to the stories that have happened before.
Yeah.
It's very tricky. It's very tricky. It's a really, really hard thing to even think about and discuss, because obviously this show is born out of Doctor Who, but it's not being made for, I don't think, for Doctor Who audiences. Or is it? Is it also being made for Doctor Who audiences? It probably is.
Yes, yeah.
And then what audience? This is not for the children. This is for adults.
But then, to be honest, I don't think children have been watching Doctor Who for a long time anyway.
This is a very, very good point. This is a very, very good point. Absolutely. That's what the Disney show was supposed to do.
Yeah. I mean, I work with kids and none of them have heard of Doctor Who. Like, some of them might have heard of it, but it's very much a world away from what it was in, say, 2005.
Absolutely.
You know.
And so, as a result, this show has been born. And actually, then that's really positive in a way, because that's showing that the Who universe is so vast and it has such an adult audience that this is the kind of show then that is a really good addition to the Who universe now, because we've got something new that's adult and 5-part and money spent, and it's taken seriously, and it's working. This is perhaps the direction it needs to go down further.
Yes,
we can use UNIT as the catalyst for that if we want to, because it exists and it's there and it's great, but it doesn't necessarily even have to be that. It can be anything.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I am fascinated to see what happens next.
Yes,
in terms of Aquakind and how that connects to the show that's going to continue. It probably isn't. It's probably going to have no connection. It's going to try and live separately. But us as fans are always going to have in the back of our mind, well, what about Salt, though?
How do we make that work? Yeah.
They're all this, how does it connect?
To be honest, I think they like to leave that to the fans a lot of the time, don't they? They just leave these big gaps and then they know the fans will thrash it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And fight about it for years to come.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt like it would have been nice to see more, but I liked what we did see of the sort of Sea Devil culture and the way that Salt explained how they're nomads. You know, the whole of the ocean and all the waterways, that is their home. They don't sort of have a set place that they live, which sort of makes sense, like, because you wouldn't need to, really. No, really nice. And I really enjoyed the visual of when the pod entered that sort of structure with the ceiling, with that really dappled, really interesting light coming through. I love the palette of this episode. They were wearing orange and it was like a tealy blue color. I thought it was all stunning, and the actual structure they've made. And you're right, it's really interesting. It's like they're teasing us of this culture that's happening underneath, and we're not quite getting. I think it's on purpose. We're seeing the top bits, and we want to see more and want to know more, and it's probably best that we don't. Yeah. Because we'll poke holes in it. But it's just amazing to see this vast life of this species that's woken up and is annoyed with what we've done with the planet. And there's obviously all that political message happening too, which is completely valid. Yeah, absolutely. You know? What do you think about, so Salt and Barclay, they have this moment, don't they, where they're kind of walking through and they get kind of the walls have moved, you know, for them to have this moment together by themselves. Is this the, can I touch you scene? Yes, it is. It's often, I've heard Russell say those words in my mind. Same. Yeah, absolutely. I will say the connection between those two characters is amazing. The chemistry that they have. One of my favourite moments was when they first get down out of the pod and she says about, you don't have to wear your helmets. And she comes up to Barclay about to take it off for him. And she's like, will you trust me, Barclay? And he's like, yeah. And it's just this great bond and great moment. It feels authentic, doesn't it, to those two? Yeah. Yeah, they're playing it fantastically. Really great. And I think it's testament to the makeup as well that she's got on her face. I think it's really important that we have
the more human, I guess, of the that she
more
looks like
emotive.
that, so that there is it's just easier that it isn't just like a rubber mask.
Exactly.
But having said that, she's I love the gills and all the fins and fronds and things that are attached to it. It's all looking fantastic, and how they move, and they've been CGI'd subtle, but it's amazing. And she's physically walking differently. She's holding her arms, and I think I love all that. It's all very good. And you're right, they do have a chemistry. It is fantastic. So what do you think about their sort of the connection that they have, and like what it's supposed to represent, and what
it's
is
so
it?
hard to comment without addressing what happens in episode 4.
Yes, absolutely. At this point, I suppose they have this moment where he's like, I feel like I know you, and I feel like I've known you, and I'm going to know you. Like, that's a really interesting idea. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
That, is that just in his head? Is that like, is he sort of a bit intoxicated? And she feels the same. Like, the tides have drawn them together. Is there? That's quite interesting.
Yes. I think they both see in each other a genuine desire to do what's right, and I think that's what led the Homo Aqua to choose Barclay as the spokesperson, and that's what Salt sees. I like the moment in the previous episode where she says, "I think you're my favourite human." It was so lovely.
It was lovely, yeah.
It's like, people who are passionate about important things, that's a very attractive quality.
Yes.
And I think they see that in each other.
Yeah, agreed. It's a lovely touch to the show. It's very kind of like, I don't know, the meeting of two cultures. Like, I don't know whether there had to be a romantic undertone, but it's nice to have it there, and but it's also a bit like, it's obviously tragic. It's obviously going to end tragically, isn't it? I think it's a bit of a tragic love story.
That's what I'm feeling like. It's a bit of a Romeo and Juliet vibe.
It is. Yes, it is.
And it's not going to end well.
No, but it's working well. It's working well. It's nice to see. It's a good facet of the story, and I think it is needed, because the other side of the story, then we've got Kate and her secret romance happening.
Yeah.
Which we probably should discuss as well.
I was going to say that's probably the next thing we should move on to.
Yeah.
One of my notes just says Kate has a lovely apartment.
It's lovely. It was very like warm colours and very like earthy, and I was like, that's on purpose, isn't it? She's always like in this big blue environment, as the Aqua kind are in their blue environment. It made sense to have all these like lovely warm tones, and it looked very comfortable. Yes, really nice. Oh, look at that lamp! What are we like? Well, the soft finishings are fab.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of orange in this episode, actually. Like, I was thinking in the pod, going back to that, like, I loved how the orange of the sort of metalwork in the pod picked up the colour of their suits, and it all just looked really well designed.
Yeah, it was lovely, really nice.
Yeah,
really nice.
But anyway, so we've got Kate and Colonel Ibrahim. Perhaps we should call him Christopher. Call him by his first name.
Christopher. Yes. Let's call him Christopher.
He's obviously concerned for her well-being, because she's had no sleep. She's just running on the fumes. Mm-hmm. And he does the great thing that a partner will do, and tell you, you're not going to be any help to anyone unless you get some rest and actually are on top form.
Yes.
So it's really nice to see that. I think he's got more characterization in this show than he's ever had in Doctor Who.
And I think that's on purpose, isn't it? I think in Doctor Who he was really just to be the muscle, wasn't he? He had to be a soldier. But there's more to being a soldier, isn't there, to a person?
And we're now seeing the human side, yeah.
Yeah, of course we are, at the end.
Because people were a bit bemused, I think, when, that moment in Doctor Who when they sort of just randomly held hands for the first time.
I think at one point they just looked at each other, didn't they? We're like, "Ooh, is something happening there?" And then later on they kind of held hands. We're like, "Oh, something is happening there."
Yeah.
And so it was quite a slow burn in a way. So it's quite nice to see that pay off here.
Yeah. It's nice to see the reality of their relationship, that, they do work together.
And obviously they're keeping it a secret. But you can see from both of them that they're very strong feelings.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that when he sees that red light on her forehead, he doesn't stop. He jumps up and he flipping.
Oh, yeah.
He saves her.
Yeah.
He saves her. And it's. I'd like to say it made me feel really sad. And I don't know why it didn't.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe it's just the the way I watched TV and how I've learned how these things were going to happen, and I think I just kind of knew something bad was going to happen to somebody, and the stakes had to be increased, and so I think I thought something like this was going to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily think it was going to happen then, or think what was going to happen or how he did take that bullet for her, and it was tragic. It was tragic, and it was all in slow motion, and she was there. She had blood on her hands. She couldn't stand up. There were still bullets coming in, and she was holding his chest and stuff. It was all very oof. But yeah, it was a good cliffhanger.
Oh, great! Yeah, obviously
it was a great cliffhanger.
Combination of that with the bomb as well down under the sea.
Yes.
Really, really well sort of cut together.
And timed and sort of...
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It did make me think, oh my God, I do want to watch what happens next. But obviously there had to be a cliffhanger of sorts like this in the show,
Yeah. Poor Christopher.
Poor Christopher.
I did feel really shocked and sad. Like, obviously, you know the structure of a drama like this. There's going to be some sort of massive turning point.
Yes.
And these kind of things happen. And we knew that we could see the bomb was going off, but to lose a character that you sort of feel is safe because he's part of the main unit cast.
Yes, this is true.
I thought it was a surprise that they would kill him off in a spin-off rather than in the main show, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Since
that's where he originated.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit of a surprise for me.
It was a surprise. Don't get me wrong, I was surprised too. I just mean I didn't shed a tear. I think he didn't have the same impact that losing Yanto had on me, where I was a broken shell of a man. It's a different situation, but maybe I'm comparing it to that because it just naturally is the kind of easily compared to moment.
That's the difficult thing, is that we really haven't got to know him that well.
No.
So therefore, it's difficult for us to care that much about losing him. Like, whereas Yanto, we got to know very well over 3 series.
Yes. Like, if that had been Kate who died in that moment, and then Shirley took over because she had to, that would have been quite thrilling and shocking. And that would have been, what a moment.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was the right call. I think that would have been too much.
No, that would have been too much, yeah.
Because at this point in time, Kate is the only voice of reason, in a way, trying to keep the Americans at bay, keeping the French chick down, and trying to in that room where she's with the Prime Minister and the delegates. She seems to be the voice of reason and peace. We need her because they are all reaching for the gun, and she's needed. We need Kate.
And for me, she's at the best that she's been in this show. Like, she's been in the show a long time now. In fact, I can't believe the next series I'm going to cover with Ben will be her first appearance.
Wow! Yes, of course.
Yeah, so I've always been a little bit lukewarm on her.
Fair.
But I do think this show, like, this is the best the character's been. I
agree. We're seeing so much more to her, and she's given more than the leader of unit. She's given more than being the brigadier, isn't she? That's what she's been given, and so there's a lot more to see, and I love that. And I think a lot of people for a long time have called the actress quite wooden, haven't they? There's always been a bit of a in fandom running joke that she's there, she says a line, and she walks away.
Yeah.
But this is sort of she can and does do it, and she's acting and giving us a lot, and I think that it's. I think she's doing really well, actually. I think it fits it all, working it all. This episode felt to me like it all just kind of clicked together. This was the point where I thought, oh, now I want to watch the rest. Damn, there's only 2 episodes left. That's how I felt at that point.
Yeah.
My other big question for you was, what are you thinking about the music in the show?
Oh, I'm loving it.
Yeah?
Yeah, Lorne Balfe done a great job.
Yeah.
Something I think Murray Gold said in an interview once was that something he learned as a composer was, if you've got a good tune, don't be afraid to play it and keep playing it. And that main theme, that Barclays theme, it comes up all the time, and it really helps sort of give the scale of everything that's going on and the sort of seismic shifts that are happening.
I think that's a really good word, scale, for his music. I think there is an absolute scale and epicness to it, even in the quieter moments.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful music. He did the same with his Dark Materials. When he did that one, it was so... Absolutely, yeah. It somehow just fit so incredibly well with the story and the characters. It's a very skillful composer.
Yes. It reminds me a bit of the score from The Crown as well. It gives it that sort of huge sense of scale and like things that are happening that are going to affect whole countries and this and that,
Yeah. Actually, it's a really nice change to not have Murray Gold here. It's I think what I commend the show for doing and want to see more of is more stories of this ilk with other talent coming on board. Even if Murray continues to do Doctor Who and that's going down that route, and it's got that feel and that he fits so well in with that. But so did Sagan Akinola in his way. But it's really nice to bring in other talent and have that scale to the whole shows, all of it.
Definitely.
I think it's a real welcome. I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're enjoying it too with the music. Because I thought that you would, but I just wanted to double check that.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I know we've sadly lost Christopher, RIP and all that. But I did just want to say that first time we've seen him in civilian clothes.
Yes.
And he looked very good.
Doesn't he dress well? Yes. And again, it was all very coordinated, wasn't it? It was kind of really nice. It was like a polo shirt, wasn't it? Like a woolen, like a knitted polo shirt or something. Yeah. And he had some lovely chinos on. And I was like, yeah. He's a good dresser too. Who knew?
Yeah.
I think it's really great to see these characters out of office.
Exactly.
And I think that's what we don't get a chance to do with Doctor Who, with any character in Doctor Who. It's what was successful before was seeing, like, for example, Rose with Jackie at home, out of office. The office being the TARDIS and the adventures and all that sort of stuff, and seeing her with the fam and all that stuff. And I think it's important all round. And this is what this vehicle of a show has given us the opportunity to see people outside. I'd like to see Shirley at home. I'd like it would work. And you're right though. Spin-off. Torchwood had all those seasons, so we were able to learn more and see weddings and see all that kind of thing, and that's sort of what we're missing in a way. But at least we saw a little bit of it with Kate and Christopher. Yeah, that was nice.
What I thought was interesting was as you mentioned Shirley, like in one of these episodes, I can't remember if it was this one, she's been referred to as Mrs. Bingham.
Mrs. Bingham.
So yes. Is she married? Is she widowed?
Is her first name Mrs.?
Yeah. Yeah, the names keep adding. She was Shirley, now she's Shirley Ann again. Yeah.
Mrs. Shirley Ann Bingham.
Mrs. Shirley Ann Bingham, yeah.
It's a fantastic name, and I'd like to see more of that and her life and what is her life outside of that tower. Interesting that they're not really in the tower for this.
I was thinking that, and I think it's so much better because that tower just, the fact that we're seeing them sort of in government buildings and stuff.
They had to be down here with the action, didn't they? I think they'd be too far removed, and they wouldn't, it just wouldn't feel real. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's the right call, but interesting that I think I expected more of the building.
Yeah, I just the more I think about the unit tower, I think it's very silly and unnecessary, especially seeing this, like they've not used it at all and they've been so like dynamic.
Yeah, I think it obviously makes sense for them to have a base of operations. It does the whole, it does what the library does in Buffy. It does what the TARDIS does in Doctor Who.
But does it have to be a massive skyscraper with huge windows and a helipad that everyone can see in London? It's part of the London skyline.
Absolutely not.
No.
Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. But I think that they've breezed past the whole thing that it went public and everyone knows about it now, and it's all out there in the open, and that's what I think Russell was working towards in his first era, and then it all went a bit more cloak and dagger again in the other eras, and they've closed the unit, they closed Torchwood, and now it's a massive, shiny penis of a building.
And there's our episode title.
I was wondering when it would come up. Yeah. Moving swiftly on.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. Is it the right call?
Yeah.
Don't know.
This is the thing as well, we were saying earlier about making big changes to the world. And like, the more you change the world from our world, the harder it is to go to, tell more stories and get new people on board and have it still make sense. Because, people talk about, doing a reboot, and that sounds quite scary and like, that's sort of like you're saying, well, the rest of canon doesn't matter and we're just going to sort of start from scratch, which is a bit dodgy. But I can understand it from the point of view of just, just back to basics, like that 2005 series where it was essentially set in the world that we live in. And the humans didn't know about aliens until they started to sort of appear, and then they'd find some excuse to not believe it. I loved that. And I think that's what I loved about that era, is that it felt like it was our world and the TARDIS could have been down the street and that sort of thing. Whereas it doesn't feel like that now.
I don't think it ever can. Again, if I'm honest, I think that I understand the appeal, and I think it would be a really interesting story choice. But I wonder that, when Doctor Who was on the first time, classic-wise, and then obviously the videos and DVDs came out, and those were for the fans. They weren't on every Saturday night again. They weren't repeated. It wasn't something that was around. And there was no social media, there was no internet, there was no, you had to be subscribed to the one and only magazine that it had at the time, kind of thing. But since the new show, it's become so part of the public consciousness that there kind of is no escaping it anymore. And so to wipe all that away and start afresh would be kind of so refreshing. But at the same time, you would always be wondering, well, the Daleks are coming soon, well, when's that going to happen? I just don't think we can. But is the answer to make it so public? Like you said, I don't know whether the answer is to have then a big shiny skyscraper with UNIT on the side. I don't know whether that's the right way to go either. I just think maybe there's an in-between.
Yeah, probably.
I do think that it's fantastic that they have replicated the set from Torchwood Children of Earth.
Yeah, perfect.
For that meeting room.
The Cobra meeting.
That's the kind of thing that makes me really happy. That kind of...
The detail.
Nobody would know unless you wanted to know.
Yeah,
and that's where I think that was really clever and successful.
Yeah.
The Cobra, that meeting was, obviously all that political stuff is really interesting and needs to be in there, and I am fascinated to see how it plays out.
I think we're never going to beat the the skin crawling scenes from Children of Earth where they're discussing what they're going to do with the children.
Never. But it's nice to have that kind of feeling evoked again, and in a way replicated. It makes sense that it being on this scale, and it being in the capital, and it being so public.
Yes,
you couldn't not have this story told as well.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah,
so it makes complete sense.
And I like that. At this time we're looking at how the military and big industry are having their pulling their puppet strings.
Yes.
And that they're showing this prime minister as he's distracted. He's got an ill wife. He doesn't really want to be dealing with this.
Mm-hmm.
So he's happy to be sort of led.
Yes.
Yeah, I find that very interesting. And
it is very interesting.
Sadly truthful.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And for the way that audiences would watch it now, and knowing the state of the world, it makes complete sense. And is a very successful part of the story, I think. This episode was very good. I do wish they did do a Children of Earth Monday to Friday of the story. I think this story lends itself so well to that. And if the world was different, it wasn't streaming and it wasn't blah blah blah, I think it would have been so good to have had that proper event. Because it does all follow straight on, and it's kind of the pace. It's a serial. Yes. Yeah. And the next night you could be really excited for the next night, and it would just be it would make it feel. I think it would have elevated it for me. I mean, watching these for me is the closest I get to watching live TV, because me and Ben, we don't have it on. We only use streaming, and I, like many people, iPlayer and stuff. Yeah. So what I'm still watching on iPlayer, but I'm just waiting at 8:30 ready to press play when it's available. Right. Yes. Oh, that's nice then. So it's like I said, the closest you can get in our house, to watching live TV. So yeah. Oh, awesome. Has Ben caught any glimpses of this? No, he hasn't. No. So he did express an interest in watching it. And I said, because he's not at the right point in Doctor Who chronology, because he hasn't met Kate and all those other characters, I said I thought it would be better for him to wait until he's at the right point. Agreed. And then he came back from work the other day and he said, oh, my colleague said apparently I wouldn't be spoiled by anything, so I can watch it. And I was like, right, who is this colleague? Because what are their credentials? I have thoughts, yeah. Because I understand what they mean, that like it's not tied into Doctor Who, it's completely separate. But True. He hasn't met these characters, and it just would be wrong to me. So I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but I have a kind of question for you about where and when this does sit in the chronology of Doctor Who, because it is obviously built to be separate. So is this meant to take place now after what has happened to Ncuti's Doctor and Billie Piper appearing? Is this obviously they've chosen to air it now, but was it always supposed to be aired now? Well, my understanding was it was originally intended to air between season 1 and 2. Ah, okay. But I think there was something to do with they couldn't film it early enough because of studios not being available. Right. Okay. So, in the first episode when Barclay said about I met the Doctor in the tower last year, I was trying to work out if he's talking about during season 1 or during season 2. I see. Because it could be either, but... Yes, it could. Interesting. Okay.
But yeah.
That was my question. I just didn't know where, like, when this is supposed to be.
Yeah. But at least we know why the Doctor's not come and got involved, because, you know, it's Billie Piper and that's all up in the air. So
Yeah, I suppose. Yes, actually.
she's got something to work out at the moment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
With why the hell she's there.
As so we all
Exactly.
do have to work that out. Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness as well, it's the Doctor wouldn't come and get involved because it's not their business. Like with Kill the Moon, you know, and the Silurian stuff, you know, he/they has given it to the humans to deal with because it's a human Earth related thing. So even if Kate managed to get in contact with the Doctor, I don't think they would.
I think you're right.
They would have any involvement.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it's right that it's separate.
It would have been nice to have maybe a line just that Kate was maybe trying to get hold of the Doctor for some advice or something, but couldn't, or I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose it would. Although at the same time, it also, by not having that, it shows that UNIT is fairly proficient in dealing with this sort of thing as they do all the time off screen. So, like, the Doctor isn't here all the time. They appear occasionally, and for those times we welcome their help, or we whatever. But all the times they're not here, I have to do with it myself. So I'm just doing it.
Yeah. The thing is, though, you know, the amount of times the Doctor's visited Earth, and you'd think if she scanned London, there'd be a TARDIS somewhere that she could scoop up and be like, "Oh, we need you now."
I mean, arguably there is the 14th Doctor somewhere about as well.
Well, oh God, let's not get to that.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I mean when I questioned earlier about like the Zygons. It's a similar sort of thing. There's just so many threads that are out there that the fans can pull at that would untie this if they wanted to, like in terms of, well, why isn't that happening? Well, why isn't Donna? Well, blah, 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 blah.
I suppose with 14, we're supposed to just assume, you know, he has said, you know, he's retired, so he's just sitting back and he's not interested. I mean, he would be, wouldn't he? But
tricky.
Very tricky. Yeah.
So we're not going to pull at that thread. We're just going to leave that there.
We'll leave that alone. Yeah,
we'll leave that alone. Yeah.
Anywho, so yeah, really positive.
I think so.
Really enjoying. Can't wait to see how it ends.
Same. I am looking forward to it. And I wasn't like, you know, itching to see this spin-off. It wasn't something that was like, oh, I can't wait for the spin-off. I can't wait for this.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But at the same time, I was welcoming it. Yes. And, you know, if this is the kind of spin-off that we're going to get in the future, I think bring it on.
Yeah, agree. I very much agree. And like you were saying earlier about the Whoniverse needing to do this for a long time, that was very much part of Russell's plan coming back, was to build up this Whoniverse. So, you know, perhaps he's had less opportunity to do that than he would have liked. But
I mean, dare I say it? Dare I say this? Maybe I will. I'm going to say it. Perhaps we should have less Doctor Who moving forward and more of this kind of thing. I don't mean no Doctor Who. I mean that the Whoniverse should continue to expand, inclusive of having Doctor Who and then having a bank holiday special with somebody else and having a 5-part story with it like this, and then having a Doctor Who, and then I think maybe the landscape of Doctor Who moving forward should be more varied and should have this wider scope. I mean, there's nothing to say that they can't also then bring them all together, like, you know, like they did in Journey's End and stuff there, that all things could come together at some point in 6 years' time to have one big story, and then they could all go separate ways. And there's literally no limits here if we have the money and the creative person behind it who can pull it all together. And it doesn't necessarily mean that Russell has to be in charge of all these things. That there are other people. Pete could do something, and then somebody else could do something else, and Stephen Moffat could do a special, whatever and whoever. Yeah. I just feel like we shouldn't be so limited to just having 8 episodes of Doctor Who every year. I don't necessarily think that's the way forward anymore. I think it should be broader. That's
the thing, is that it's so hard when you're in it, like to sort of get a sense of the landscape of TV.
We don't know.
And how it's changed.
Yeah.
But we'll be looking back in 10 or 20 years at this time and be able to say certain things. But at this point, I question whether the episodic Doctor Who format that came in 2005, whether that's the best way anymore in this current landscape. But
it worked then. I don't necessarily mean it's going to work now. It doesn't mean it doesn't work now. It doesn't mean it can be a mixture of all things.
Exactly.
I just think we need to broaden our horizons a bit. Have the Whoniverse be just wider and have more of other things.
Yeah, I agree.
Why not?
Well, that's a lovely note to end our discussion on, I think.
Agreed.
But before you go, I'd like to play our little game that we call Whom 101, the room you can banish something from Doctor Who into. It's all very lighthearted.
It's a great name too.
Thank you.
Very impressed.
Thank you.
Love that. Is there a jingle?
Oh, that's a good point. I haven't done one yet, but
there's still time.
Who knows? Who knows? So if you'd like to submit something, I can also tell you what other people have put in, and that if there's something you might like to save and defend.
Interesting.
That would be nice.
Yeah, sure. What would you like me to do first? Submit?
Yeah, you submit.
There's a new catchphrase for a new Doctor Who. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so I haven't thought long and hard about this because obviously we were just talking about it a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
But I hope that from discussions with you on this podcast, I hope that listeners who listen to the show that I do will know that I am an innately positive person, and certainly a positive viewer of Doctor Who. And
which is why I was a bit cautious about asking you, because I thought, is there anything you would...
It's really tricky because I can veto a lot of things from that I find clunky or cheesy or that I don't like from Doctor Who and kind of like mind wipe it away. And it doesn't matter to me that it's there and it's silly and whatever. And I am very much that person. It doesn't... The things that bother fans don't necessarily bother me. And that sort of led me to my submission to your Whom 101. I would like to bin the pressure that fans put on Doctor Who. I've gone meta. This isn't something necessarily from the show, but it is something that is born from the show. I think that this show is expected to be like everything at once. You know, fans want it to be comforting, but they want to be challenged by it, and they want it to be nostalgic, but they want it to be brand new, and they want it to be for kids, but deeply adult, very adult. You know, and the show is always failing somebody.
Yeah.
They're always saying like, "Oh my god, but the show needs." Okay, a caveat: I'm guilty of all these things. It needs to evolve, but it can only change in the way that I want it to change.
Yeah.
And all these things that, it's so hard for the show to have a consistent canon and to explain everything and for it to be satisfying. And yet fans want that. They want it to be morally correct, but they want it to be critical of the world. They want it to honor the past. They want it to fix the previous mistakes. Like, I just feel like all of those things go into this big pot and it leaves us arguing on Twitter.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, and it's probably an extension of what I've discussed before about this expectation factor. I know I've said it so many times on all podcasts, but we all have this expectation of the show. Naturally, we feel this ownership of it. You grew up with it, Stephen. I didn't. I'm quite a lot older than you.
Not that much.
Oh my god, my back hurts just sitting here. So, no, but I didn't grow up. I was in my 20s watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
And so it's a very different place in your life. It doesn't mean I feel any less ownership in inverted commas of it. It means something very special to me. I have my own podcast. But what I mean is that we all have this strange affinity with this show that allows us to criticize the show. And that comes with any fandom. But I feel like if we bin the pressure off and let the show be the show and just be a bit more accepting of what we get rather than arguing about the canon, that doesn't make sense because of this, that doesn't make sense because of the Zygons, like what I did earlier. Or if it's more like, this show isn't made for me anymore, or I don't like the fact that it's a woman doctor, or all those things that people have, those really wild, strong opinions about. You're allowed to have those opinions. I'm not saying take those opinions away, but
just chill.
Just chill. just bloody chill and look at Russell Tovey's arms and think the world is better because they're on the screen.
Absolutely.
It's top off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, just let the Sea Devils be the Sea Devils and let Aquakind be Aquakind.
And let Zygons be Zygons.
Let Zygons be Zygons. Absolutely. That's a good episode title too. So yeah, I think I would like to submit this idea that perhaps we need to take the pressure off the show and the spin-offs and the creators and the creatives behind it, and by extension off ourselves, and just enjoy and just chill.
Yeah.
And that's what I submit. Does that make sense at
Absolutely.
all?
That is a
Okay,
fantastic
right.
submission. I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think that makes a huge amount of sense.
I was trying to think of something really trivial. I was trying to think of like, can we just bin Slovene or something? I don't know. I was trying to think of something really trivial that would be really funny and like, ha ha ha. But I don't mind all that stuff. I don't mind all those things that people mind. Like, I'm actually quite interested. What are some of the things that other people have decided to submit?
Okay, well, I'll tell you what's in there at the moment, and then if there's anything you'd like to save, there's one thing I have a prediction of what you might save, but we will see. So currently we have Doctor Companion romances.
Okay, I understand.
We have cheap catchphrases that monsters shout out.
Okay, totally understand.
Two-parters that could easily have been one episode.
Oh, hi Ben. But okay, yes, fine. Pacing story, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Quite a specific one. We've got Seeing the Weeping Angels Move.
Okay.
We've also got the concept of Doctor Who canon in general, which is quite similar to your one, I feel.
I suppose, ways. Yes, it does have it. Yeah, it does have a quite, yeah.
We've also got bringing Gallifrey back only to destroy it again. Mm-hmm. And we've got Clara. The character of Clara.
I mean, I would love to come back and have a discussion about Clara and her story with you at a different time, because I think I would save Clara. I would absolutely 100% save Clara, and I will die on that hill. Genuinely. I wouldn't contest any of those things as such. I understand why they're all there in terms of all those things you just listed, but I would love to come back and make a case for Clara being
please do,
whipped right out of that box.
We can do a deep dive.
Please. Anyway, we won't go into it.
So consider Clara saved now from the room. And that is what I thought you would save.
Really? How interesting. Yeah.
So yes, we'll see what goes in next week. But thank you for your submission as well. I think that was really, really useful. Really, really good.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope it made sense.
Completely.
It's hard to word.
I was going to say about the toxicity of the fandom, but I think you put it really well there.
The toxicity is fact of fandom now, I think. Unfortunately, and obviously probably because we're fueled by social media, but then also fueled by podcasts and all of us speaking about it. I mean, we're part of the problem, whether we like it or not, because we go on. Because I created a format where people tell me their dud stories. I'm inviting people to say, the negative thoughts, and that there's a place for all of that. There is. It's part of what makes us fans, and I completely get that.
I think there's something so different about having a conversation like this,
totally. Oh my god,
where we can kind of understand each other.
Yes.
Whereas there's so much of the problem with, say, Twitter. Like, your tweet will get seen by people who have no idea who you are, and will just assume all this stuff about you just from these 140 characters.
Totally.
And I can't bear that.
Totally. They are very different beasts, but obviously, I say part of the problem, but also we're hopefully part of the solution.
Hopefully, yes.
Because I don't think our places in our podcast and the products that we are putting out there aren't certainly intentionally supposed to be part of the problem.
No.
But in putting our opinions across,
it's all part of the mix.
Whether that even be where we share that opinion or can respect that opinion, because we are those type of people, that's great. But the people listening not necessarily will. They won't necessarily be able to have that wider viewpoint. I like to think that our fans do, because that's a lovely thing to think. But if somebody stumbles across our podcast and wants to hear, if they have those decisions, those thoughts that really just go against what we think, then we are part of their problem, just by extension. So it's just one of those funny things, isn't it? That it's so tricky. But yeah.
Well, I'll let you know how many hashtag cancel Mike things come in for your contributions on this episode.
I mean, yes. And you know what? I have to just sit here and invite it, because it is what it is.
Hopefully none. I don't.
Hopefully none, obviously. Yeah. But when it happens, because it will, because we're all so different, that's fine. I've got quite a thick skin.
Oh, you need it in this world. And I have the thinnest skin known to man.
With this sort of stuff, I think perspective is really important. And I think, we all have our own, and we all have our version of the show that we love, and to invite hate like that, that is a problem.
Yeah,
that is a problem. But Is it the end of the world? No.
No.
It's not. There are so many other good shows out there. And I love Doctor Who so much, and I'm really enjoying the War Between the Land and the Sea. Oh my God, except for the title.
Yeah.
I'm over the title. It's too hard. Have you been watching The War Between the Land and the Sea? The what? The War Between the Land and the Sea. BBC Doctor Who spin-off? And they're like, no, I don't watch Doctor Who. Oh, no, you don't need to watch Doctor Who. This is a program about a war between the land and the sea. I don't know. That's awkward and tricky.
I've put this on social media, but every time I hear it, it just makes me think of that scene in Fawlty Towers where he's like, you can see the sea. It's over there between the land and the sky.
Absolutely. But it is. Is it a genius title? Possibly it's a genius title, but I don't know.
It has a kind of musicality to it, but
absolutely it does.
And a grandness to
a rhythm.
It,
there is a grandness. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
But in trying to say,
but it is a mouthful. Yeah.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, trips off the tongue.
Buffy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you say that. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a little bit of a mouthful.
Absolutely.
But
we can't just call this the war. Well, they're calling it the war between, aren't they?
I call it the war between. That's what I've been calling it.
Yes, the war between. And, arguably, that's a good... If the next spin-off comes and is the war between something else and something else, that
could be really cool as a format.
Yes.
Anywho,
sorry, digression.
Yeah, I'm going to have to wrap up because I promised Ben I'm going to pick him up from work.
Let's wrap up.
And I don't want to face his wrath. So
I don't want that either. That's worse. That's worse than all the Twitter rants out there.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me for this. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for having me. It's always fun.
Yeah.
And it's always those ones where I think I'm not going to have anything to say that I end up having so much to say.
Yeah, and it's great.
Isn't that funny?
Isn't
that funny?
Well, thank you very much. I'll be back next week to talk about episode 4. But until that time, stay cool, stay safe,
stay fantastic.